Thanks for joining us for another episode of Look at These Fucking Idiots. Here we have a look at truly what the Flat Earth community is like. You've probably heard by now there's a documentary on Netflix called Behind the Curve, so I'm going to give it a bit of a review from the point of view of a fairly sane person. There's a lot of delusion in the eyes of these people. You can see there's a lot of common ground between them. They all seem to be quite reclusive, maybe a bit socially awkward. Maybe they were rejected by peer groups, friendship groups, generally found it hard to fit in at school, in society, in the workplace. And now they've found another collection of people that don't look down on them, don't think they're stupid or think they've been manipulated or they're gullible, and it further reinforces how they feel about their current belief system.
Hands me the bag without even checking it.
Gotta love old Nathan here. I mean, I keep going back to him, but what a first impression. I mean, really, like, when you're handing out skills at birth, I wonder why he got, delegated the skill of ping pong ball hammer bouncing. I mean, if you've got a grading system for idiots, this man's a top shelf, grade A. If he was a whiskey, he'd be like distiller's choice, barrel aged, Kentucky bourbon, quarter cask, moron level. Like, the man he just knows no bounds. Like, I've yet to meet a flat earther or hear about one or encounter one or research one that doesn't also hold a set of beliefs that are just, everyone's entitled to their own opinion until you're a complete fucking retard. I mean, I look at sympathy more than I do I look upon these people with sympathy more than I do any sort of anger. I don't have any anger towards them whatsoever. Mildly this guy, but only because I think he's proper manipulative. To the point where he's manipulated himself. Like, that's going to be the hardest thing for them to really get over, I think. In terms of swallowing that they've got it wrong for so long.
We're actually filming a documentary about it, so that's how it's done right there. Well, here's some flat earth music. Next level. Cool. Flat earth model on my bezel. We got some good books right here. Firmament, vaulted dome of the earth. George Orwell, 1984, must read. This is Edward Hendry's masterpiece, The Greatest Lie on Earth. I'll just read you a little bit.
I really don't think you can talk about any book about flat earth as the world's greatest masterpiece. Not even a masterpiece, full stop. Not even a piece, dickhead. Like, it's, no. Just stop it. Now. Fucking bellend.
Quite the opposite. We test everything. We're all either super successful or doing our own thing. And I've met hundreds of flat earthers, and none of them are living in their mom's basement. So
that can only be because your car that you live in doesn't have a basement.
Then just a slew of them. Everybody started coming in. They started changing up the words. It's flat to flat earth.
Again, this is a look into the branding of flat earth. Like, these people want it to be a bigger thing, then there'll be more money in it, there'll be more revenue. And if they think about it, if you were the first person to create FIFA or the NFL or UFC or the NBA back, decades, hundreds of years ago, by now you'd be sitting pretty on top of the pile. They built FIFA built an enterprise. That's what these people are doing now. Mark Sargent wants to be, Florentino Perez of the flat earth community. He wants to be the David Beckham, the Michael Jordan, the LeBron. He wants to be a celebrity. He's achieved nothing. he's got nothing,
Have you seen
and he just wants to be important. I know it's a bitter pill to swallow if you get to the end of your life and you look back and go, shit.
Once in a while someone will send me a book.
So he's trying to like be some sort of messiah, the second coming, and reach out to people. And I just think it's irresponsible, mate. Like, sort your shit out, pull your fucking pants up, and get some responsibility.
YouTube broadcasting because my father owned a radio station. We've got the jukebox here that was in the lobby of the radio station when I was growing up. It's a 1973 Wurlitzer 1050. It is original, all original, except for the records, the 45.
Now this lady, she's got a YouTube channel, but she does it in the format of filming herself, basically doing a podcast. There's nothing wrong with that. She actually presents it very well as a show. She is the cliche of a cat lady. She doesn't seem like she's nasty at all. And out of all of them, she seems to be the one, quite similar in, if you think about it. So, the Westboro Baptist Church, most people have heard of them. The only people that have recently, to my knowledge, left the Westboro Baptist Church and had the understanding and self-awareness to admit that they were wrong are the women. And she is the only one in this documentary that has had the sense to question herself and go, oh, actually I could be wrong about this. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, Patricia. You just got to keep walking, love. You've seen it. Now go towards the light, Patricia.
We started talking on Skype, and we'd have these marathon conversations, 3 and 4 hours long, and we just talk.
What happened that day in Flat Earth, what had happened during that past week, anything involving any sort of conspiracy. And then I said to him one day, why don't we just do a show? And I jokingly called them The Secret Show.
Just late for everything. Obviously. 5 minutes. 5 your...
Like the way he talks about Flat Earth, it's kind of spot on. Because he talks about it as if it's its own little dimension, if it's its own world, like a parallel universe. And in that respect, he's absolutely right. It's a whole set of beliefs and principles, and you can't argue with them.
Believe that this is covered by some sort of dome. The other 30% believe that it's not covered, and there's just more versions of this outside. I use Life of Brian as one of the metaphors for how Flat Earth fragmented when it first came out. When he was running away from the
See, you can't just draw inspiration from a slapstick film, The Life of Brian. I mean, like, it does highlight how much TV this man's absorbed and not a lot else in his whole life. You know, there's psychologically behind this. If you look at like shock therapy treatment, when they expose people to images related to pleasure or pain, to reprogram the brain to hold certain principles and beliefs and impulses, and that's what Flat Earth is. If you're into it and you go home every night like researching YouTube, seeking it out. And I actually know of somebody who refuses to watch Behind the Curve because he's been told it takes the piss out of flat earthers. They take the piss out of themselves, mate. Like, you can't pick and choose what you're going to absorb based on what you want to find out. It's like you can create a counterpoint or a proactive point for almost any argument or perception under the sun. I believe, if you look hard enough, you'll find anything, and that's what they've done. But selectively, they haven't taken it all into consideration.
I got a big beam, so you're going to see it. I just want to make sure you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it, but Flat Earth International Conference.
There's Patricia.
This is the part about it. It shows you how they feel about their pseudo celebrity status. They've got a Flat Earth convention now. I mean, I want to go. I really do. I'm not kidding. I really want to go. I want to do a crowdfunder. Like, And I want to pitch questions to people. If you have got something you want me to find out at the Flat Earth conference, share my stuff, please comment, tell me what you want, and I'll try and make it happen. I'm on all platforms, Patreon, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Follow me on my platforms, and I'm not asking for any subscriptions, like paid subscriptions, but if you share my stuff, I get more views, I can set up ad revenue. But the difference is, I'm not lying about it. Yes, I want to be a YouTuber and bring content like this. So if you do like what I'm doing, please get behind me. But I'm not going to dilute, you know, I'm not trying to pretend anything other than I'm enjoying making videos. So, you know, that's where these people grind my gears, because they're trying to pretend to be this prophet, this messiah that's bringing this, you know, bringing this information to the public. They feel like it's their obligation, but let me tell you something, fellas. It's nah, mate, nah.
I think everybody knows.
I mean, in their own words, they don't have an academic or a scientist amongst them. And he justifies it, as in old Sergeant Matey Boy, justifies it in that they can't because it's too conflicting. Doesn't that prove that you're wrong, Mark? Like, seriously. I mean, you've in your own words said that the reason that scientists and academics can't be involved is because they can't get on board because they're too educated, effectively. But I know then again he does justify that on the basis that after a certain level of education, the education system owns you, just manipulated you and brainwashed you. Well, you would know how that feels, wouldn't you, fuckstick?
The guy that kicked this off for me. For me, it was the second video, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, was the infamous Flat Earth Clues.
Alright, click on that video.
You're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard, or 17 feet off the water. The Earth is flat. If he's holding it up to 23 feet high, and we're seeing the light.
Here you see them trying to conduct an experiment and it all goes horribly wrong, and you hear them in the video saying they basically can't release the results of the experiment because otherwise it would completely discredit them. Yet they signed a waiver that these can be released on the platform Netflix.
We don't see you, Enrique.
You're fucked, boys and girls, you're fucked.
Way above your head. Interesting. Interesting, yeah.
Don't worry, I'm not going nowhere. That was just how I cut it.
I don't deserve you.
So Mark called and said that he was a member of the Flat
I mean, he lives at home with his mum. I'm not having a go. Maybe he needs her. But I think she'd be doing him a great service if she basically said, you live under my roof, you live by my rules, and, you know, I think the Earth's a globe, so
This is the domed version
get real or fuck off.
of the Flat Earth model. The South Pole, it's like a 200-foot wall of ice straight up. Game of Thrones.
This is what they think the Earth looks like, right? I'm going to assume that those two swinging, you know, things on the end of that T-stick are representing the moon and the sun. This is what he thinks we are from the outside world, that he's put a twist on it. Again, he's just watched too much TV. It's very symptomatic of someone with, you know, severe psychosis or paranoid schizophrenia, because it's in his head he's like the centre of the universe. He's privy to this special information. I mean,
is someone a flat earther? Here you go
wow.
to a restaurant. Is, you know, the person making your food a flat earther? I don't know.
The very next day, I'm flying out, and I'm wearing a...
She's got a point. You want to know, don't you? You want to know if the people making your food, the people flying your aircraft, are flat earthers.
Like in Fight Club. You Mark Sargent for real? I go, yeah, why? And he goes, I'm not kidding you. He winks at me and he goes, that's my name too. And he hands me the bag without even checking it.
They're everywhere.
That's
They can
terrifying.
inject you with
That, what
vaccines
happened, what he just described, so he's gone to an
and
airport,
homeschooling and this
the guy that was meant to be searching his bag for terrorist devices, weapons, drugs, anything, let him through because he's also a flat earther. Like, it is like Project Mayhem in Fight Club to an extent. Like, they can pull favours in high places if the right person's a flat earther because they feel like they've got some sort of special bond.
Employee at Starbucks. Asked them why Massa means to deceive in Hebrew. Technically, it's the word nashah, but it sounds so similar. You hate Americans? Is that it?
Excuse me?
Yeah.
How the hell did you get that?
Well, I just got kicked out of Starbucks for asking NASA employee questions. I ended up getting kicked out of a bunch of Facebook groups. So.
It's quite hard to get kicked out of Starbucks. It really is.
It was slow start at first. I just added all my friends and said, hey, talk about flat earth. There's no cursing, no insults. That was about 14 months ago, and that's blossomed into 53,000 members.
So based on that, I can only assume he already had a bunch of friends that were flat earthers.
Can I ask you a question? Anyone
They
ever
must
told
just
you that
find
Earth
each
is
other
flat?
really easily, you know.
I just feel like I have an obligation to tell people you don't live on a spinning ball. I've been telling them for years you didn't come from monkeys.
You don't, mate. You don't have an obligation to do anything other than shut the fuck
In
up.
the world. We're actually filming a documentary about it, so that's how it's done right there. Well, here's some flat earth music.
That's not how it's done, Nathan. If you ever came up to me in the street, I don't know what I'd say, honestly, or if anyone ever came up to me in the street and tried to preach to me the earth is actually flat, I don't know, to be honest, I might humour them. Like, maybe I can try and provoke that.
George Orwell, 1984.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. Any suggestions? Don't forget, write in the comments, please.
Masterpiece, The Greatest Lie on Earth. I'll just read you a little bit from the table of contents real quick. The first chapter is Samuel Rowbotham proved the earth is flat. The idea people have of flat earthers is totally wrong. You know, they think they're total idiots and they live in their mom's basement and they believe everything anyone tells them. It's quite the opposite. So you test everything.
No, I've shown this bit before, but it's just the way I've cut stuff. And
We're doing our own thing.
doesn't matter, does it really? We're all having a laugh.
Hundreds of flat earthers. And
Yeah,
none of them are living
that's
in their
right,
mom's
Nathan.
basement, so.
We're having a laugh, mate. You must be having a laugh. I still refuse to accept to an extent that this is actually happening. You know, like, I almost feel like old Sergeant does, in that surely this is this is all a joke, like, and this is all part of some sort of Hollywood set. Like, I think everybody's winding me up sometimes. But,
Do you know anyone who believes in the
don't
Bible?
go
You
down
guys
that
got
rabbit
a
hole.
cross right there? Okay, so check this out. I got these new flyers 10 minutes ago. The Bible says flat earth, but also stationary, over and over and over. And it also talks about how we live in a dome. And so they're teaching lies in the textbooks. And here's all the information. You can check it out later. But what I'm doing is, are you on
Absolute
Facebook?
paradox there. They're basically accusing Neil deGrasse Tyson of fabricating things with YouTube and CGI and wild assumptions. Sound familiar?
Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky.
Fraction, or its atmospheric effects, or its mirage.
See, this is what happens. I reckon a lot of people have just done too much drugs in their life, especially some of the more ping pong ball hammer bouncing enthusiasts amongst them. They've just done too many drugs in the Nevada desert, and they're arrogant, so arrogant that they stand there and tell people that they know more than Neil deGrasse Tyson. Like, I don't know Neil deGrasse Tyson.
The reason why we're
but he's got qualifications that are pretty well respected, as far as I understand.
Whereas we go and say, hey, by the way,
Definitely more respected than ping pong ball hammer bouncing.
That's it. A picture says 1,000 words. I was well versed in just about every conspiracy you can think of. I had heard about every conspiracy. Flat Earth was the last book on the shelf.
He's kind of just got the maths wrong here in a lot of ways, and he prides himself on being a clever man. I don't think he's stupid by any extent. Well, that's open for debate, so again, comments time. He's basically like, he'd be right if the circumference of the Earth, the diameter, whatever, the equator, was about 250 foot.
Mom's always doing the whole glass half full, and I'll go on and say,
I don't know how that is in kilometres, but yeah, it's not, well, it's like, not even a kilometre. So, yeah, nah, mate, you just...
I first heard of people thinking that the Earth was flat, in elementary school, but in the context of history. I think it was in the last couple years that I heard that people are still believing this and making a lot of videos on it, so I started watching them because I was curious, and it's something.
It really is something. I mean, this lady, I'm glad she's involved because she's an astrophysicist at Caltech, so she knows what she's talking about. And I bet she's kind of pissed off. I mean, you can see when she asks one of her colleagues what he thinks of the Flat Earth Army and the Flat Earth movement, and the look of disdain in his face. I mean,
probably about 5 years or
there's
so.
nothing. The man looks just inconsolable when asked a question what he thinks of them. He's clearly in such disapproval, and it is a case for psychiatrists and mental health professionals. I really feel.
First time I ever heard about flat earthers was, I think, when I was in space last, and I saw the stuff on social media. I can't believe I'm talking about this.
How do flat Earth conspiracy theories make you feel?
Here's the fella. That's the one. Look at his reaction. That is a genuine man in pain there. And how bad would you... I mean, how insulted would you feel as an astronaut? You're an American hero. You've done something that only a small handful of people on the planet has ever done. And
879 videos. This man is prolific.
these people just think they know better. They're calling you a liar. That must, that's not nice, really. Like,
for 3 or 4 hours, and I ended up subscribing to podcast, Flat Earth podcast, and listening. This, like others in the series, is something you've riveting. I would watch this for hours.
They're wacky. They're bizarre. But yet they find this audience that believes them, takes them as gospel. There's enough of them. They can't just all be people wandering around with tinfoil hats all the time. Like, these are fairly normal people, at least some of them.
We go in a little sports bar. A bartender runs over, and she goes,
she's right, and that's the worry. They seem like normal people on the face of things, so they're able to fit in with normal society. Anyone could be a flat earther, and I think it's about time we started putting it on job application forms and, census registers, because if that's not already done in some places, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Write in the comments again. I'd certainly want to know if my life was in jeopardy because I was in the presence of one or had to have any dealings with one ever.
that's my name too. It hands me the bag without even checking it.
So here we're going to have a look at how some of these people have set up their social media platform as their business model. Because let's face it, that's what it is. It's an enterprise now. Flat Earth is a brand. Like, if anyone's still confused about that, I've looked into it. I sound like these guys now, don't I? But I have looked into it. I personally know something about social media, and this is how they're making their retirement funds. End of story, really. That's fundamentally it. anyone watching this, even if you think to yourself, well, I'm not actually paying them, I'm not buying their merchandise, I'm not supporting them on Patreon and giving them a donation a month, you're still, I mean, I'm technically, by watching their channels and to find out more about their, you know, spiraling into oblivion, I'm technically supporting, you know, they're getting hits off of my views and they're getting ad revenue based on how many views and subscribers they've got. So I'm a little bit guilty, but the people that watch it relentlessly, I mean, I've seen videos with 1 million views, and that's a lot of money, you know. So this is more of the YouTube platform of Patricia. I really hope for Patricia because she seems like a perfectly nice person. And, you know, society does need to welcome these people back to reality once it's going to break them. They're going to need years of counselling to get over this. They're going to feel like everyone's mocking them, and they will be. You know, that's the sad reality of it. It's going to be impulsive. But we all need to recognise that they don't deserve to have their world shattered to the point where they're, you know, become chronically depressed.
Seeing is believing. As these globes clearly illustrate the Earth is round. Or is it? Our cover story is reported by Brooke Silverbrone. Probably most people who hear about it will laugh at it, think we're idiots. We're not idiots. We're intelligent people from all walks of life and all ages.
Patricia Steer is one of what you might call the stars.
See, I really don't think for a second she's unintelligent. She knows she's intelligent. I mean, well, look at how much she's got. She seems like she's living in a pretty nice house, so she's made money out of this. So, yeah, she's definitely not stupid, like some of her followers.
The fact that the last 3 letters are CIA in the word Patricia, which means I'm in the CIA, because the government would be that dumb. But okay, if you want to believe it. Other things that have been said, that I'm a reptilian, and people see my eyes shape shift while I'm on YouTube, that I drink blood. The most recent one is that I'm transgender.
I mean, I even threw up a question one day. What's up with Patricia Steer, you know? Because I don't know, but I don't know.
Now, the thing about all of these things is I can't prove any of it wrong. I could and have shown people my birth certificate, my driver's license, photos of myself as a child, and they'll say, well, if you're CIA, all of that stuff can be constructed. People will still say you don't have a real family, that you don't have a brother and sister.
So she's aware here that other people have got massive misconceptions based on being over conspiratorial and having delusional mental health problems. Yet she's only just able to conceive that she might suffer from it too, which is, it's the first step, Patricia. Well done. You're nearly, you know, it's a step in the right direction.
Worry about maybe things I believe in. Am I like another version of that? But I know I'm not.
She gets a lot of hate because people love to hate her. She's become the villainess.
I gotta ask you, what's up with all the animosity?
All it is competition. That's all it is. You watch some Matt stuff.
Yeah.
Matt was the same.
Okay.
He actually called the conference Shillfest 2017.
Mark, you'll be right here. Cool. Can you say something?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
It's just weird how, like, all of a sudden, this whole movement of people believing in the flat Earth just if you look on Google Trends, it's like spike.
We actually broke them.
So that's the video pretty much coming to an end now. So if you do like the videos, or if you find it controversial, if you think the Earth is flat, if you think it's a globe, if you're sure it's a globe, please comment, share, like, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
It feels like it's part of something bigger.